For a long time, city leaders have been asking the wrong questions when it comes to transportation, streets, and our entire public realm. Instead of asking, how do we solve the plight of the person who insists on driving a car alone who's stuck in traffic? And how can we help keep more and more traffic moving no matter what the cost? We should be asking, how can we move fewer people, fewer miles, while enjoying a dynamic economy and a prosperous, high quality of life? It seems like there are just too many of us trying to find space in the same lanes and the same intersections at the same time. Trouble is, Americans have been hearing we're running out of roads since at least 1947. And despite spending trillions to add capacity to the system, all we succeeded in doing was to convince more of us to drive more and more. We succeeded in causing a shift from the family car to the personal car. Now, one or more cars per person over age 16. And in making our households dependent on the car for everything. The spending on road widening and highway building made the problem we were trying to solve worse. So, I'm going to issue a challenge about what we need to do instead. It isn't just about the way we build streets, though that's terribly important. It's about how we design neighborhoods and how we shape our region, so it's more convenient and less car-dominated. And it's about rethinking the entirety of the public realm, the spaces between buildings, including streets, but also the parks and squares and plazas and greenways and trail networks. So once you get to the neighborhood where you live or work or go to school, it's somewhere worth being. The highway infrastructure was intended to speed things up, to get us moving again, so we could finally go faster. But what really happened was it just encouraged us to use that time to roam farther, to drive till we qualify, pushing more sprawl outward, and to drive alone more and more. So we have to address the causes of the suburban traffic congestion, not just the symptoms. And the causes aren't that hard to discern. Our daily activities are too far apart. Our street networks are too disconnected and tree-like instead of grid-like. They force each trip onto the same roads and intersections with everybody else at the same time. Our auto-oriented street scenes are hostile environments for walking and biking, and our transit alternatives are weak. 600,000 additional people will live in Miami-Dade County by 2040, maybe more. More still will follow them. If they all do what our parents did for decades, drive alone, long distances, for everything, the traffic will get a whole lot worse. We need to get a much bigger percentage of those who already live here and those new folks to choose short local trips, walking trips, biking trips, and transit trips much more often. It's already too hard to drive. When you're stuck in traffic, that just means there were too many cars and too many other people trying to do exactly the same thing you are in the same space. There's a basic geometry problem to depending on cars for everything. They take up too much room. In the picture on the left, you can see how much space it takes for a busload of 40 or 60 to occupy one bus or trolley. In the center picture, you can see how much space it takes for the same number of us on bikes, slightly more. But in the photo at right, you see what happens when each person has a car. There will never be enough room. Here's another way to visualize the same thing. 400 cars versus 400 bus passengers versus 400 people on a train. It's the same with parking. By industry estimates, our cars are motionless and empty, stored 94% of the time. And that takes up a tremendous amount of space. Each time we try to add motoring capacity or more parking spaces, the new lanes and highways bring more cars and more sprawl and more traffic. So the real question isn't whether you are going to have traffic congestion. Some of the most important streets are simply going to be congested at peak hour from now until the end of time. The real question is, in how many lanes will you finally embrace the inevitability of that congestion and get on with the business of making livable towns, and get on with the business of making it easy to choose walking, biking, and transit? So here's the answer. The key to managing the car traffic is not focusing on the car traffic. It's focusing on building more complete and connected communities that have more of the workplaces, entertainment places, gathering places, and housing we need close at hand, thereby shortening many car trips and, even better, eliminating others in the process. I'm describing the car-optional community, a place where you can use a car if you want to or when you really need to, but you don't have to, not constantly. It's a place where walking is our highest priority mode of transportation, where people on bikes feel welcome and safe, and where transit is provided as if we really mean for people to use it. Of course, we have some walking, biking, and transit going on already in our Sunbelt cities. But have we implemented the physical infrastructure for those cities as if we really mean for walking, biking, and transit to be top quality first choices, better than driving? And what would our world look like if we did? Well, it wouldn't look like this, or this, or this. Ask yourself, how should the community be set up so it's easy to choose green mobility options? There's even a term for this among us wonks: reducing VMT. How can we reduce the vehicle miles traveled per person per year? When we hear of a new development bringing higher density and mixed land uses to a transit corridor, instead of just assuming it will make traffic congestion worse, we should scrutinize how well it can be designed to reduce our combined travel in cars, allowing us to shift travel modes. In this way, development can be part of the solution rather than just more of the problem.